Manchester City and Chelsea Copama business was a real robbery. How did Manchester City got into an agreement of selling this kind of a player to Chelsea? When it comes to football, there is one team we'll never doubt on how they are breaking the records. When we talk about anything being broken in football, I mean any record being broken in football, Manchester City has to come to your mind. And we are not going to be doubting how good they are. Be it scoring goals, Manchester City are good. Be it signing good players into the team, Manchester City are really good. Be it winning trophies, we've seen Manchester City breaking records. But can we now agree and say also Manchester City broke the record of selling one of their very best players to Chelsea? They sold one of the best players right now in the Premier League for 40 million to Chelsea Football Club. How did Manchester City and Chelsea came up with this Copama business? Right now we are talking about one of the very best players in the Premier League, and I think we can all agree and say Copama is way much better than Manchester City's dog. Was Copama not good enough when he was playing at Manchester City? Or what really changed when Copama came to Chelsea? Before we knew Chelsea is one of these clubs, the player will never grow. But we've seen Copama's performance. The player he was at Manchester City is a totally different player right now at Chelsea. A key player for Chelsea? I think we can all agree that there is no any better player in that Chelsea team who can play better than Copama. Scoring an hat-trick in less than 10 minutes. 4 goals in 20 minutes, which means Copama can score a goal in every 5 minutes. A player that Manchester City sold to Chelsea for 40 million is a player who is worth over 100 million right now. There is no way that Chelsea can release Copama for anything less than 100 million. Even though we know they are not going to be releasing the player anytime soon, because Chelsea is one of these teams also in the Premier League who gives their players the longest contracts ever. Copama is very lucky because he is having a 9-year contract with the Blues, which means he's going to be playing for Chelsea till when he is 31 years. Manchester City and Chelsea Copama business was a real robbery. How did Manchester City got into an agreement of selling this kind of a player to Chelsea? During that time, Chelsea, they were really struggling, and there is no player who could imagine himself being in the team that Chelsea was during that time. Copama decided to join the team, and he has really proven to be one of the very best players in the team, not just in the Chelsea team, but in the Premier League. Copama can start for all these Premier League teams right now. Copama can fit to start for Manchester City. Copama can fit to start for Arsenal. Copama can fit to start for Manchester United, of course. Copama can fit to start for Aston Villa and all these other Premier League teams. Does that sink? Of course, it doesn't have to sink because it is already sick. If you look at Copama's performance since joining Chelsea and compare to that of Manchester City's Erling Haaland, Copama has 43 or 44 goal contribution. On the other side, Erling Haaland is having 39 goal contribution. You can now imagine what Copama and Erling Haaland will be doing in a Manchester City team. Copama is now under Maresco, I don't know, Enzo Maresco. Can you just reverse it a little bit and think of Copama being under Pep Guardiola, the way he could have been performing at Manchester City? What Copama is doing in this Chelsea team, he has really proven to be the modern footballer. He is very versatile and very flexible footballer. The composure he has in the front line, the leadership he is showing in the Chelsea forward line, together with Sancho, Madueke and Jackson. I'm not saying Manchester City should have not released Copama out of the team. No, Copama needed more minutes to play, and Chelsea was the perfect team for him. We've seen Chelsea releasing some of their really good players, the likes of Mo Salah, the likes of KDB, and also we've seen Manchester United releasing some of their really good players again out of the team, the likes of Fred, the likes of McTominay, who is really doing well again at Napoli, and the likes of Sancho, who is again doing really fantastic at Chelsea. But we've seen them being very jealous. But Manchester City letting Copama leave the team, it was one of the biggest mistakes being done by Pep Guardiola. We know Pep Guardiola is genius, and each and everything he says is very right. He has done this before and he's going to be doing it again. But we all have to agree and say when Pep Guardiola is done with his managerial thing, when he'll be enjoying life and doing some interviews with the likes of Morgan Pierce, he will one day admit and say releasing Copama out of that team is one of the mistakes he has ever done in his managerial career. Again, we know Manchester City is one of these teams in the Premier League. They do their things in a silent way. They are not like Manchester United or Arsenal fans or Chelsea fans who are all over the place and saying exactly how they feel. And for Manchester City, we know they are very jealous, but they are not used to shouting. We could have seen them all over social media saying how much Copama is overperforming at Chelsea. The free kick against Brighton was another very sensational free kick. I know you've seen Ronaldo's free kick, you've seen Messi's free kick, you've seen Mbappe's free kick, you've seen Benzema's free kick. But that Palmer's free kick has to get his place in football history books, achieving what he has now achieved, being the first Premier League player to score 4 goals in the first half. That gives Cole Palmer more cards even maybe to be one of the Ballon d'Or's owners in future. Cole Palmer made it possible for Chelsea to break Brighton's unbeaten record, and we are hoping Manchester United will not play against Chelsea when Cole Palmer is this good. It will be a pure destruction and demolition of Manchester United. Let us know what you think about Cole Palmer in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't, because what are you doing with your life? Subscribe to our channel. We'll see you on our next one. Till then, stay safe.